Hey, it's me. I want to talk about what people really mean when they say, let go, let God. I know you've heard it before, maybe so many times that the words barely land anymore. When I sit with it, it feels like there's something deeper a lot of us miss. Letting go isn't about giving up control in a surface way. It's about loosening the grip of the part of you that's always reaching, always insisting that life fit a certain shape. It's not just about dropping obvious fears or old stories. Sometimes it's letting go of something you care about, something that feels good and right, but you're holding so tightly that it starts to slip through your fingers anyway. We all get caught there. Maybe you've wondered if letting go means you have to settle for less or give up on what matters most to you. And that can bring up a lot of worry and confusion. When people say, let God, they're not talking about passively waiting for something magical to show up and solve things for you. It's more like learning to listen from the quietest part of yourself, that part that's steady and open. For that to even be possible, there's work to do. It's not about chasing after some lofty idea. It comes down to small moments, the ordinary ones where you catch yourself clenching, bracing, or demanding. Those moments can feel too minor to matter, but they're the real doorway to everything else. Big truths always get twisted up in the mind. It's easy to read something inspiring and nod along, but then you go back into your life and nothing actually changes. The mind tries to make these teachings into rules to follow, and suddenly letting go turns into this forced surrender that leaves you feeling empty or hopeless. So instead of letting go, you end up clinging even harder because who wants to feel empty? No one does. The irony is, when you hold tight, when you push, insist, or try to bend things your way, you close yourself off from the very flow that brings what you want. That inner pressure, the subtle voice that says, you have to love me, or life has to go like this or else, ends up shutting the door to what you're really looking for. The more tightly you hold, the more you block the very thing you long for. I see this all the time in relationships, both romantic and otherwise. When you try to force love, when you grab for someone to fill an ache in you, love can't breathe in that space. The more you demand, the more it slips away. You might think you're fighting against someone else, or maybe even against some old pain, when underneath, it's always a question of trust. Do you trust the small, grasping self? Or do you trust something deeper that you can't always see? The hardest part about letting go, I think, is that it brings up all the feelings you've been trying to avoid. Sometimes that's pain, or fear, or emptiness. Sometimes it's just this sense that if you stop holding on, everything's gonna fall apart. So most people stay in the old pattern, choosing the pain they know over the pain they imagine will come if they let go. The thing is that in between space, the discomfort, the waiting, the not knowing, isn't permanent. It's a passage, but you have to walk through it to find out what's on the other side. If you believe that emptiness is all that there's for you, or that you're just meant to suffer, you'll do whatever you can to avoid letting go. Or you'll resign yourself and feel hopeless. Either way, you're caught. Most people bounce between those two, pushing and then collapsing, never really finding peace. Both sides live in everyone. You might lean more one way or the other, but deep down, both exist. It's only when you start to see both in yourself that you can begin to unwind the whole knot. Sometimes you might look like the strong one, always getting your way, running the show. Other times, you're the peacemaker, keeping the peace at any cost. Under the surface, there's always a flip side. The strong one is hiding some secret fear of emptiness. The one who submits is quietly holding their own need to control things, just in a different way. It's sneaky. Most people don't notice until life finally brings them face to face with the emptiness or loneliness they've been trying to avoid. When that happens, there is a choice. You can dig deeper and get honest about your own patterns, or you can double down and keep pretending. Even when you get what you think you want by forcing or by pleasing, it never feels like real satisfaction. Maybe you win the argument or keep someone close through guilt or pressure, but underneath there's resentment, there's distance, and there's no real sense of being loved for who you are. The person might stay, but love withers in that climate. There's a real risk in letting go of control. You might lose something or someone, but if you never try, you never find out what it's like to be loved freely, to be wanted just for being you. And if you do lose someone, does that really mean you'll be alone forever? That's the fear talking, not the truth. Sometimes you have to walk through the emptiness so it stops running your life. That's what makes space for something better to find you. I know it's hard to trust that the good things in life, love, safety, enoughness, could actually be meant for you, especially if you've learned otherwise. You can't build real faith, though, on top of doubt and grasping. The energy you spend trying to control people or outcomes is energy you could use to build a quiet trust in yourself and in life. All the hiding, manipulating, and bargaining just keep you stuck. I invite you to really look at yourself, not just the parts you show the world, also the ones that hide underneath. Notice where you don't trust, where letting go feels like giving up. Notice what happens inside when you stop grabbing for what you want. Do you get restless, angry, afraid? Can you sit in that even for a moment and imagine a different way? Both the holding on and the hopelessness have something to teach you. Get to know both, and you start to get your hands on the real key. Knowing about the key isn't the same as using it. It takes honest, steady work, especially in relationships. Pay attention to that urge to push for love or respect or approval. Notice how forcing or demanding never brings the feelings you want. Real love only grows in freedom. If someone can't give you love by their own choice, you don't really want it anyway. When you can let go and trust that what's meant for you will come, the universe has room to surprise you. Of course, it's not just about love. This way of being ripples into everything: work, money, friendships, your sense of purpose. When you believe you're lacking, you reach for things in desperate ways. That closes you off. To live with open hands, you need to start by feeling rich inside, even if it's just a little bit at first. Maybe there's only one area of your life where you feel abundant and generous. Start there. Notice the difference in how you show up. Then look at the places where you feel poor, needy, or empty. What would it take to give you a little in that place instead of grabbing or waiting for someone to fix it for you? You're always creating, whether you realize it or not. If you try to control or manipulate outcomes, you build walls around yourself. If you learn to trust, to let things move at their own pace. You open up to the flow of life. That's what letting go into trust is all about. It's not pretending to feel positive. It's not faking faith. It's stepping back, making space, and seeing what's really there. Nobody is rich in every area. Some people feel secure in love, but never trust money will come. Others feel creative, but can't relax into friendships. Where you feel rich, you give and receive easily. Where you feel poor, you freeze up and wait for the world to save you. Real change comes from noticing this, not judging it, just gently turning toward it. If you believe you're poor or lacking, you'll act from that place. You'll take, you'll grasp, you'll make others responsible for your feelings. That isn't love. That isn't trust. When you can say, I want to be loved, but I won't take it from you by force or guilt. I'll give you freedom. And if you choose me, I'll be grateful. If not, I'll let you go and keep walking. That's honesty. That's integrity. That's the ground where real abundance grows. All this takes courage, facing your own tight places, your own habits of stealing or hiding or blaming. It's not easy. It's how you find your way back to the part of you that knows you are enough, that knows there is enough. When you let go, it's not about giving up your desires forever. Sometimes you have to step back from a wish so you can see if it's actually yours, or if it's just a reaction to old pain. The path isn't always comfortable. Sometimes you'll need to sit with emptiness for a while before something new can bloom. That's how you build the inner ground for a new life to grow. I want to touch on something important here that's connected: guilt. There's a difference between feeling guilty, feeling ashamed, and real remorse. Guilt says, I'm ruined. There's no coming back for me. Shame says, it's more about not wanting others to see who you are. Real remorse, though, is clean. It's noticing where you've caused harm, facing it, feeling it, and then deciding to do better. Remorse lets you change. Guilt buries you. If you spend your days caught in guilt or shame, you end up cut off from your own life force. That makes it even harder to trust that good things can happen for you. You cover up, you defend, and then you never actually heal. Letting go isn't about never feeling bad. It's about facing what's real, making amends when you can, and remembering that none of these struggles defines you completely. And remember, there are helpers along the way, even if you can't always see them. There's a bigger picture, one that's hard to grasp when you're in the thick of things. It's there though. The world you can touch is just one layer. Underneath, there's a deeper current. When you practice letting go, bit by bit, in the middle of all the old habits and doubts, you begin to sense that. It's not about being perfect or getting everything right. It's about being honest over and over, and trusting that in time, life brings you closer to the wholeness you were always meant for. Keep going. You're not alone. Love you. Connect soon.